Y'all, it's another car chronicle coming in. And this one, if you in the prophetic, or if you at any way believe your dreams and the visions and sights that God gives to you, this dream is about to take you on a trip, okay? Because I know for a fact I have been dreaming since I went to sleep. This one dream, I'm gonna say it had to feel like it was like 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours I was in this dream. And I literally just jumped up. I told my husband this dream, and as I was telling him what happened in the dream, God started to put me on this trip to find and seek out what this dream meant, because typically I would interpret these dreams by a friend of mine. But I'm going to just go back first. I want to introduce myself, y'all. For y'all who don't know me, my name is Tiffany Childress, the Tiffany Childress. And this is my car chronicles, okay? The gift of the prophetic and the gift of being able to speak as one of God's chosen ones is something that I never would openly and publicly say, not because I didn't want to announce it, but because I always felt what made me so special, what made me so different, seeing that I was still am full of so much sin and so much wrong. I just felt like, those titles and labels, I don't want to, carry that on my head. However, for right now, for what God just revealed to me, I'm going to speak it bold. I am a prophet of the Lord. I am one of God's chosen ones that he has put in a specific assignment here in this realm. So I'm going to dive right on into it, even if nobody jump on this live, because it's not about the right now. It's about who's to see it, because I know that this dream and the message that was from this dream is for someone outside of myself. And I just want to make sure that I completely am obedient to what God is doing. So let's just dive right on in. So y'all, last night, I'm getting ready to go to sleep, and I was feeling like, just these different thought processes. And I always have like this open dialogue with God where I'm asking him, like, what is it that he needs me to do in my assignment? What's next? So I was having one of those what next moments now. Like, God, I did this, so what do you want me to do after this? What am I supposed to be doing in your kingdom after my day was what it was yesterday, right? So basically, I was asking him these questions, and one of the last things that I looked at before I fell asleep was like a video about what's going over in Congo and what's going on in Palestine. It was like some stuff about that, and it just made my heart like just heavy. I was like, oh God, what can I do about that? Like that's major, because eventually it's going to end up here on American turf. But anyway, in all this is just dialogue I was having within my heart. So anyway, I go to sleep, and I start to dream. And so this dream is really like out of this world in a sense, because it held so much realness to it. Like, it was very vivid. In my real life, it felt like I've been in this dream, like I said, for 2 or 3 hours. Okay. So, and this is the first dream I've had in a long time where I can remember detail by detail by detail from scene to scene. So in the dream, it's me, my dad, my stepmom, my godparents, both of my godparents, and we are traveling in this dream. We are on our way to a trip to Thailand, and we get to Thailand, and we arrived off this like kind of like a tunnel, not a tunnel, but like one of those walkways where you have to walk across to get to the other building, but it's like elevated way high up, right? Like, we so above the land, like we look like we are in mountains or whatever. And we look down as we're walking across this tunnel. It's like all glass, and we looking out, and we like just admiring how beautiful everything is, right? And so the whole arrival at this place, everything was like a game. Everything we did was like a ride, like we were going through like some type of virtual ride. The way we got down, it was like slides. It was like every place that we went to, we had to take like an adventure to get there, right? So when we finally get to the tourist grounds and we're walking around and we just like looking up, and it's all these big beautiful billboards, it's all these beautiful mountains, it's just a very scenic place. And we end up walking to this like kind of like a green pasture, but across the pasture was like this food place that was on most of the billboards that kind of had like drove us to say, okay, let's go over here and eat, because it's being advertised everywhere. So we get to the pasture and my dad was walking behind me, and he like, man, this is a lot of walking. Like, why we got to walk so far to get the food? And I was like, we got to press forward for what we want. So let's just, go ahead and keep it going. We're going to keep moving and keep going forth till we get to this building so we can go eat. So bam, we get over there, we eat. Everything is great. We leave this building after we eat, and we go back to this park area that's like a amusement park, like a Six Flags or whatever. But every ride literally took you somewhere else in the park. And it was one ride in particular that would take you back up to this tunnel, not tunnel, but the walkway that I was just explaining to you guys. Is one ride that takes you back there to get back to the airport for you to leave. So we walking around, and the day has went by, and my dad was like, okay, it's getting late, y'all. It's time for us to get ready to go back. Let's go get on that ride to take us back up, right? So we all walk over there, and the way the ride was set up, only so many people could get on at one time. So my parents and my godparents both took the ride first, and I was like, it was another person that ended up being with us, weirdly. I don't even know how she showed up, but this person, I didn't realize till I woke up that I knew this girl, right? But so anyway, in the dream, my parents go ahead, they leave, and my dad tells me when he gets on the ride, we'll be waiting for you up there. Our flight doesn't leave to X, Y, and Z time. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, well, we'll be right behind you. I'm next. We're next. So I get on the ride, and the person that is operating the ride is somebody that I knew, right? But they look different. Now, in real life, I know this person, but they looked different. This person used to host drag queen shows. They used to dress up in drag, okay? But at the ride, the person was a man. It wasn't in drag. So, but he was still very beautiful, very pretty skin. Hair had like, how in the Temptations they used to wear like the roller sets in their hair or whatever. So they had this hairstyle going on. And I remember them coming up to strap me in, because the ride is kind of like a bungee ride where the ride pulls you back and it slingshots you back up to get to this terminal. And when you get up there, it's other people up there that help restrain it so you can get off and kind of walk on this like conveyor belt style thing to get you back in the tunnel thing to get you back across to the airport, right? And so as the guy is strapping me in, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I know you from somewhere. Like, I'm feeling it, but I haven't really verbalized it to them that I knew them from somewhere. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know this person, but I couldn't picture it because the face was familiar, but it didn't have all the cosmetics, all the makeup, all the glitz, all the glam, the hair, the clothing. They were just kind of like plain, but still beautiful. And I used to frequent this place in real life because I used to be gay. I used to live the lifestyle. So I used to go to this gay club all the time where they would put on these shows. And they would, the person that was in the dream would be the one hosting the show. Okay. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how I know this person. And then the girl that was with me, at the moment, I had never recognized who she was. So I'm looking at her, we both like getting ready. And when it was time for us to leave, for whatever reason, we just kept getting delayed. Like something kept going on. And so the person that was operating the ride, the familiar face, was like, y'all just give me a minute. We having a few difficulties, but I'm gonna get you up there. And I'm like, yeah, we gotta go now. I had two bags. I had a backpack strapped like to the front of me, like how we used to wear back in the Gap, how we used to wear our backpacks in front of us. But then I had a Gucci purse strapped across my shoulders. The person ended up asking me to take my purse off, and they were going to send it up there later. And I was like, well, I'm gonna need my purse because my phone is in my purse, right? Now, in my bag, I had like my passport and all that stuff. But in my purse, I had my cell phone. And it was a phone just identical to this, right? And so, I give my purse to them because they was like basically saying that was like what was pulling it back from us going. So, bam. When they pulled me back to release me to shoot up, I never went up. I was going like in a zigzag, just going back and forth. Now, in this zigzag, when I would go back, I noticed behind me, there was like a tunnel. And this tunnel was a circle. So you know how they put like those huge pipes under the ground for water to funnel through to go to like a dam or something for water and stuff to drain through. This was the tunnel behind me, but it was above ground, like you can see it, but it was behind the gate. And it was sectioning off two different places. The place that we were in, where the ride was like I said, very beautiful. It was really like a tourist attraction. And then that tunnel behind us, you couldn't see behind the fullness behind the tunnel, but you could see a building behind it. But it looked like the slums, like it looked like just low, like ghetto or something. And I don't want to say ghetto like that, but it just looked like a slumland. Like it was real life. The color was like gray. It looked dusty. It looked old. It looked worn out, right? So as I'm slingshotting back and forth between this beautiful side and this ugly side, and I'm looking and I'm like, I wonder why I'm not going up, right? So finally the ride put me back where we started from, and the girl that I was with had never took off. She had been sitting there the whole time. And so the person that was operating the ride came to me and they was like, I'm gonna have to get off. We gotta check the ride. So I'm gonna send you another way so you don't miss your flight. I'm gonna send you back another way because it's not working right. So I took my purse that I had left. Me and the other girl get off the ride, right? And when I got off the ride, I looked back at the person who was operating the ride, and it was like I clicked that I know where I know you from. So I grabbed him. I was like, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you so long. You look so different. Why are you in Thailand? Like, what made you come here? And they was like, oh, I just needed to change the scenery. My time was up over there. I needed to make my presence be known somewhere over here. And I was like, well, how you end up owning all of this stuff that you used to own over here in America, and now you over here and you operating rides? Like, oh, well, it's just something to get me by. Like, they just kind of brushed it off. And I was like kind of like admiring them. I was like, I'm gonna have to get your number. We need to catch up. And so the person responded to me, was like, oh, you'll get it. You already have it. Don't worry. Very calm, very like taking a breath, right? Now, mind you, this is a person who used to be full of cosmetics, makeup, just always. You know what drags do, baby. They serve better than us women most of the time. So this is what I'm seeing when I hear this person talk to me, is this glamorous side that's coming out through the identity of who they are in self. So they say, I'm going to send you with one of my workers and they're going to take you. Now, as we are walking towards this place, I see this little girl walking along the gate with like this pitchfork kind of item. And it's not a huge pitchfork. It's about like that long. The rod of it is long. It's like a copper brass looking color. The fork picks on it look kind of rusty, but you can tell that it still has some power, like it could still hurt somebody or whatever. And so I see this little girl and she's running it against the gate and she's walking. And she had on one of these old school like color block jackets that we used to wear like in the 80s, 90s with the patch thing that kind of like the Velcro that would like cross like your chest right here. And she had like these 3 pigtails, 2 on the side, 1 in the back, little knucklebones right here. And she's running this pitchfork along the gate, and we locked eyes, right? Like I was supposed to pay attention to her. So the person who was escorting us to the tunnel, when we got to the tunnel and we were going in that tunnel that was behind the ride that I told y'all that was behind the gate that looked like it was in the slum. And it was like, once you get to the other side of this this tunnel, it's going to take you to a building. And in this building, you'll go up, and then that'll put you back up where you can get back to the airport, right? But we have to crawl kind of through this tunnel. So the girl that was with me is behind me. The person that escorted us there never went in the tunnel with us. So we get in, and now we crawling, and it's long. Like, this tunnel is long. So we get about a halfway marker, and I started to kind of have anxiety. And I look back and I'm like, something's not right. Like, we not going, this ain't right. Like, something is wrong. And I heard a voice tell me, but you just got to see it through. Keep going, but prepare. So as we get like a little past the halfway marker, the little girl that was walking against the fence, hitting it against the gate, was in the tunnel. And I knew it was her because as she crawling, I seen the fork steady coming up as she's crawling. And so when I met up with her, when we got to each other side by side, I said, hey, give me that. I need that. I'm going to need that. And with no words, she gave it to me with no questions. And she had another girl behind her as well, right? So we go and we finally get to the other side of this tunnel. So now we on the other side, and it's like this huge building. It reminds me like of like the project buildings in like New York somewhere, right? And we get to this huge building, and I look up, and it's like just ghetto, like just hood, like the up until I couldn't see no more. It was like clothes hanging over the railing. It was like dirt and it's just filthy. And the person on the other side was like, you gotta go in here to go up. So we get in the building and we go up a couple of floors, and I'd say we was probably like on a 6th or 7th floor, right? And I get to this apartment building, and the door was open, and it was a person sitting outside the door gardening. And it was this very big lady, like huge lady. She looked like she was like a giant, right? But she was very soft in the way she spoke, very gentle in how her approach was. Because me in this building, I'm like, where am I going? And she said, oh, you looking for a way out? And I was like, yeah. I'm trying to get back to the airport. I got to meet my flight. My dad is waiting on me. Like, and I was adamant about reiterating, like, my dad is waiting on me, right? And the person who operated the ride ended up walking up on the floor too. And we was kind of like standing there, and they came to me and told me, you're not getting out. You belong to me. You're not leaving. You're mine. This is my building. Like, they own their building. And basically kind of just said that I'm never going to leave. And just like that, I was stuck. I was like, what? And that person went and changed and put on all the drag stuff again. They put the full cosmetic, the makeup on. So when he walked away, the lady who was at the door said, come here, baby, let me show you something. So I go in this apartment building, and it's very like hood in her apartment. Like, you know, the typical, I grew up in the projects, I grew up in the hood. And so the box fans are there. She got clothes drying in front of them. She got some stuff hanging out to dry. And she taking me to these 2 back rooms. So the first back room had like a big mattress laying on the floor. It was 4 girls on the floor. And she took this oil out of her bosom. And it was like, it was very luminant, like very beautiful oil. Like, it was just, it was glistening through the bottle, right? She say, see, what he don't know is that he'll never have my babies. He'll never touch my girls. And as she's telling me this, she's dropping the oil on her kid's head, and they sleep, and they laying down asleep. In this first room with the first 4 girls, right? She said, cause look, babe, I keep my babies covered. He might have had me, but he'll never get my babies. And she was just telling me this, and she was moving with such ease. She said, we gonna get out one day. But until I figure out us a way out, I'm gonna keep my babies covered. And I'm listening to her, and every time she would drop the oil on their head, they had cornrows in their head, and their braids will highlight gold, like gold. Their face would be like gold, like pure gold, okay? And it would stay this way for a couple of minutes, and then they'll transition back to themselves. But it's as if she was dropping an anointing, which is what she said when we got to the second room. The second room had 2 girls on the floor, on a big mattress on the floor asleep. And when she got to the last girl, she dropped, she said, see, mine are anointed. They covered, and they taken care of. And so she say, here, the rest of this is for you. Now run for your life. I dropped the oil on my head, and I walked out of her apartment, and I ran for my life. So I get up in this elevator and get to this other floor. Now, this is in the same building, but when you get up there, the building just switched to this very beautiful, like, condos. It looked like one of those, like, 5-star, like, Ritz-Carlton type thing. The hallway is, like, made up with so many beautiful statues and monument type things. And when you look to one side of the room, it's like this elevator that's, like, grand, that's, like, trimmed with all this gold, and it's, like, it's very immaculate. Now, you look to the other side and you can see the way out, right? It's that tarmac I was telling y'all about, that place I had to get to the airport, so I can go across that terminal thing to get back to the other side, right? And I looked at both and I took off running, and, like, now I got all these people, like, chasing me, and the person who was operating the ride, that drag queen, was running after me, was like, "You can't leave. You are mine. You belong to me." Okay? And I had my fork in my hand, and it's like this whole thing, and so finally I'm like, I hit the person with the fork, like, jabbed them, okay, and put some more of that oil on me, and I was like, "But you can't have me." And I got on that tarmac thing, and it, like, took me across to the airport, and I got on my flight, and I left, and I made it back to where I was coming from. The whole time, my godparents, and everybody was waiting on me. And when I get over there and I embraced them, and my dad was like, "We never left. We came back every day. It's been years, and we came back every day. We wasn't leaving." My dad, okay? Remember my dad. He telling me this. He embraced me, and I grabbed my dad's hand. I say, "We got to go back, though. We're not done. We got to go back. I got to go get them. I got to save them." He was like, "Go back, but we've been waiting so long for you to get here." And I said, "But we got to go back." So I get back on the plane, and we all go back over there. And I still got my pitchfork, and I still got this oil. I still got the backpack in front of me looking like Dora the Explorer. My passport was missing out my backpack. I got the purse still wrapped around me, and we get back and we go back. And once we go back and enter into this land to save everybody else, I woke up. So I get up, y'all, just not to, literally, I got up about an hour ago, okay? I get up until, in the flesh, like right now. I get up about an hour ago, and I get up, and I'm looking at where I'm at, because I'm confused now, because it was too real. Like, it was so for real. I was very confused when I woke up. So I sat up, and I rolled over, and I looked at my husband. I said, "I just had the craziest, scariest dream." Now, mind you, I've been speaking about Thailand highly. Like, I want to go to Bali. Is that right? Excuse my words if I'm country, y'all. So my words don't always flow like y'all words flow. But I'm like, I was in Bali. But I tell him everything I just told y'all. I'm telling him the dream. And so while I'm telling him the dream, certain areas of the dream started to, like, stand out to me more, like the whole cosmetic thing of the person that I know was all the way made up, okay, that the drag queen, they were standing out to me in my dream. And I'm like, I know this person. And at the time, I hadn't put two and two together that this was the person that used to operate this club. And so but I'm telling the story to my husband, and as I'm telling him this, I'm like, the person was like a person out of the Bible, but I couldn't recall the name of the person that I was looking for in the Bible. And so I said, it's in 2 Kings, but I cannot remember what's the name. And then I said, I was like, what? Maybe it's Baal. I said, no, not Baal. Baal wasn't that deity. It's somebody else. So I go on Google and I type in, who was the person in the Bible that was about cosmetic and, like, makeup? And so it came up on Google, and it's on this phone, so I can't show y'all what I want to show y'all. Let me see. It won't show it because I'm on another phone. But anyway, I wanted to show y'all, like, what I Googled. And I was like, who is the person in the Bible that was about makeup and cosmetics? Because they was double-minded. They did two things, that they served men and women. They did that. And so when I pulled it up, and a scripture came up of 2 Kings 9, And Jezebel was who it was. And I'm like, dang, why couldn't I think of like that's so common? Like, duh, Jezebel, right? And so I opened up 2 Kings 9 on my Bible app, and I read from the NLT version, right? And so I'm telling my husband the whole dream, what's going on, what happened about the oil, the this, that, and the third, and I start reading 2 Kings 9. Okay, this is what I read. And I read the NLT version. Okay, so I start reading. I say, and I read this. Meanwhile, Elisha the prophet had summoned a member of the group of the prophets and said, "Get ready to travel." He told them, and he said, "Take this flask of olive oil with you. Go to Ramoth Gilead," and y'all forgive me because, baby, the Bible names just be kicking my tail. I don't know how to pronounce them right, but that's not the point. Don't worry about what my word's saying as far as the reading of these words I can't pronounce. Get this message right quick, right? He says, "Go to Ramoth Gilead and find Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimish. Call him into a private room away from his friends and pour the oil over his head. Say to him, this is what the Lord says. I anoint you to be king over Israel. Then open the door and run for your life." Now, in my moment while I'm telling my husband, I go to tears because this happened in my dream. Okay? That woman that was very beautiful that was guarding her door when I came across her, when she gave me that oil and said, anoint your head, anoint yourself is what she said, and run for your life to that exit to get out, right? This happened in my dream. I never read this in the Bible. I've never knew that story was in the Bible like that. I've read 2 Kings, but I've never seen this. This is my first time bearing witness to this. And so while I'm reading this to my husband, because before I start reading this, I told him I was going to call my sister Tara. She's normally my dream interpreter. When I have these type of dreams, I call her because she's very good at dissecting what they mean in the natural, because I know my dreams are very supernatural. Now, all these thoughts are running through my head as I'm talking to my husband in this natural room, like how I'm talking to y'all right now. And everything is like falling in alignment. And because I'm like, I need to know what God is trying to tell me. Like, what am I doing in this dream? As I'm reading this, and it's like my dream is coming alive in this biblical text, right? So I kept reading. So as I keep reading, it says, so the young prophet did as he was told and went to Ramoth Gilead. When he arrived there, he found Jehu sitting around with other army officers. He said, "I have a message for you, Commander," he said. "For which one of us?" Jehu asked. "For you, Commander," he replied. So Jehu left the ones and went into the house, and the young prophet poured the oil over Jehu's head and said, "This is what the Lord God of Israel says. I anoint you king over the Lord's people, Israel. You are to destroy the family of Ahab, your master. In this way, I will avenge the murder of my prophets and all the Lord's servants who were killed by Jezebel. The entire family of Ahab must be wiped out. I will destroy every one of his male descendants, slave and free alike, anywhere in Israel. I will destroy the family of Abad and destroy the families of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and of Baasha, son of Ahijah. Dogs will eat Abad's wife, Jezebel, at the plot of the land in Jezreel, and no one will bury her." The young prophet opened the door and ran. Jehu went back out to his fellow officers, and one of them asked, "What did that madman want? Is everything all right?" And then Jehu replied, "You know how madmen like that like to babble on." And they said, "You're hiding something." Okay, so all this, as I'm reading this, and it's unfolding to me what God was telling me. And so my husband looking at me, and he like, "Baby, what's happening?" Like, because he can see my demeanor changing. Like, I sat straight up in the bed, and I'm like, that was my answered prayer. I asked God before I went to sleep, after I just watched like all this stuff that's going on in the world. And I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? He answered me through this dream and through his word in real time. Okay. I'm sharing this with y'all because immediately I heard God tell me while I'm telling my husband all of this, and while we seeing this all unfold, because baby, I can't make up the Lord's word, and I can't change that word either, for it's already written, right? But God is allowing me to interpret my own dream this time around, and he's given his word. God told this man to go to this land, to give this oil to his prophet to do this work. It was a reason why this lady handed me this oil to anoint my head after she showed me what the oil did for her children, to keep them covered and out of harm's way of Jezebel that was in this dream, to keep them covered from the mix-up of what's going on in this building that was in the lower levels. On the lower levels, it was full of destruction, but higher up is where the high and mighty sat and looked low to keep planning this mass destruction, this genocide against the people who were trying to find out, that were tricked to come into this land and can't get out. God prophetically has spoken and told me what to do, but the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because it's somebody else that's supposed to be doing this work too. It's another person who know that they are chosen by God, that God has appointed you to do a works in his land, for you to save some people, for you to go back and go get some people and anoint their heads, to bring them over and bring them forth, to have the things, the weapons of warfare that this fork had 4 tops to it. I don't know what they mean right now, but somebody will catch it later. And I'm a guarantee somebody's gonna watch this story later and tell me what that fork meant, because I still don't know that. But this word is for somebody to come forth alongside of me. The girl that was with me the whole time in this dream, I knew her. And guess what? When I got on that floor in the building that was very beautiful, that was very immaculate, that looked like royalty, her name was on the door. Okay? Her full name, and I'm not going to call her name out for the sake of this live, because she's actually a real person that I know, that I grew up with, that in my childhood. And then when I went back, and as I'm telling my husband all of this, the fork represents feeding the people the word. Come on now, Carol, woman of God, prophet. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Don't do that. Thank you, ma'am. Ooh, thank you, ma'am. Oh, that just hit me. Sorry, y'all. Thank you, ma'am. But, okay. As I'm sitting here telling my husband in real time what I'm having, what's happening inside of me and what I'm seeing, I recall the name that was on the door when I went up to that high floor after I had anointed my head with this oil to get ready to get out to run for my life, right? And I look at this girl name, and the whole time I'm like, that was the girl that was with me when the ride was working wrong. She was with me the whole time, right? She was a spirit of confusion, like to try to keep me in a sense of normalcy, that everything was okay, because she was with me. She was behind me in the tunnel. But what I didn't realize is that the little girl who gave me the fork was me. I have a picture of my 5-year-old self with this color cross jacket on. That exact jacket with that exact hairstyle, okay? I gave me the fork in the tunnel. I gave me that fork in that tunnel. My younger self gave me that fork to feed God's people with this word. Oh my God. Oh my God. For those of y'all who gonna watch this live on YouTube and all that stuff later, I'm live on Facebook right now. So one of my sisters in love and sisters in the kingdom, she typing me right now. She said, all your life you have been waiting for someone else to pass you the best time to do the work of God, when it was always in you from birth. My God. She said to pass you the baton, but it was in you from birth. She's saying, all my life I've been waiting for someone else to pass me the best time to do the work, when it was always in me from birth. Like, and that's real life, y'all. Right now, as this is unfolding, as I'm telling y'all, I knew I was going to get on this live, and I knew somebody was going to be able to help me to finish bringing this dream forth of what this meant. Oh, wow. For real, all my life, y'all, I have been waiting for somebody in this natural world to give me this okay to do the works of God, because, y'all, in my mind and in my heart, I know how I love God, and I have never loved God by the world's way of loving God. I don't like to go to no church building like that. I don't like to be confined to like biblical and theology of teaching. I've always said you cannot put God in a box, so therefore don't box me, because I am his workmanship. I've always been so radical. My mama can attest to you. My godparents. Now that's making sense of why my godparents was in my book. I mean, in my dream, because my godfather, for one, he used to whoop me all the time. Like, my daddy never hardly whooped me. My godfather would whoop me all the time because I was so bad to him, because I never stuck to the script. I never stuck to the script. And my godmother would always baby me and be like, you know, he don't mean it. He want the best for you. And girl, you just so bad. You just so bad. You know, you just do too much. You don't never just stick to what's happening. You always just doing things out of the box. But that was the whole point of my life. I ain't never supposed to be in no box. I ain't never supposed to be walking according to man's script on the world and the aspects of what I'm serving in. The capacity is not of this world. Miss Carol say, y'all, she say, this year God is going to place a mantle on you to build women up to go near and far to feed the people. The word of God, with the word of God, much attack will come, but he's already prepared you because you have been predestined to do the work that is ingrained in your being. I had a young lady inbox me a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, and she said she received this message for herself as well. God know it was for you, woman of God. It was for you, because I told my husband as I jumped up to get ready, I said, I gotta go live today. I don't even like going live. But the young lady who wrote me this message on Instagram, she inboxed me and she said, oh my goodness, like she said, I know might sound weird or crazy or whatever, and I don't even know why I'm telling you this. And this is before she told me she said she couldn't hear God correctly. But as she told me that simultaneously, she gave me a word from God and said that she was seeing a vision of me speaking to nations. And she said, I got chills all over my body right now as I'm typing this to you. God showed me you speaking to nations of people and saving women and changing their lives, right? And at that time, I told her, I said, look at you hearing God's word and going forth. You hear just fine. So stop doubt. So we served each other. And that's what I know now. Everything in this next dimension is serving each other. My other sister in love, LaShonda, texted me this morning at 7:08. Now, mind you, I didn't get up until like 8:40 something. I didn't read the message until after I started to talk to my husband about this dream. And as I'm telling him this dream, I read what she sent, and she told me, dang, can I? If I close it, it's going to close y'all out. So I can't read verbatim what she said, but basically she was telling me good morning. She said something about God taking me up. And then she put at the bottom, welcome to your new dimensions. I texted her back and said, my goodness, I can't wait to tell you what. And I said, I got to share something with you when you get out of church. She texted me back and said, I know. But what stood out is the text message that she wrote that told me, welcome to my new dimensions. God, I done jumped timelines. I have went into the 5th dimension of the heavenly places. I did what Enoch done. God had literally taken me to a place, a high place in these high mountains, to give me a vision to see what it looks like for the people who are caught in the slum of life, of doing life as usual. The people that was at the bottom, that was walking in all this, they wasn't even trying to get out, y'all. They was doing life as usual until I got to that specific floor where that big, beautiful lady gave me this oil and showed me how she was keeping hers protected as they slept. As they slept. Y'all, in its full totality, I don't know what God is about to make me do wholeheartedly, how this is going to look. But I'm telling you, when you see me now, you see this glow, this radiant light, how that glow was on her children. It looked like a shiny gold that was over those kids that she anointed their head. When you see me, know now, forever and forevermore, you going to see God's glory. And as filthy as I may look from where I came from, as ugly as it may have been, whatever my story is, it was made for the time like now. And I'm doing all of his work. So be ready. And whoever's supposed to be with me, when I tell you to run for your life, let's go. Run for your life and let's go. Because we got a greater works to do. And I'm not leaving. Well, like the billboard said of No Child Left Behind, that the school districts was putting out, no child left behind. We all going to the kingdom. We all getting out. We all gonna get in that terminal and go across. We going forward. And when we go forward, we gonna leave some, and the some that's willing to do the work, I'm gonna grab you and say, let's go back, because we got more people to get. We got a work to do. If you go read 2 Kings and 9, I'm gonna ask y'all to do this. Go read that full chapter in its fullness and read it in whatever biblical text for your understanding. Don't just read the King James version, translate it to the Message version. Read it to something click. If this word comes across you, I am telling you by the power of the prophet of the mouth that God told me to speak forth in boldness, this word is for you. This message is for you. It is time for us to get out the slump. It is time for us to get out this all that nastiness, that filth that we've been crawling through all our life. It's time for us to go get in these high places where the people who are trying to control us is at. It's time for us to have access to these floors, to get up there, and we're getting ready to shake up a thing. Exactly. Miss Carol just said, in the book of Enoch, in the Bible, Enoch never died. God loved Enoch so much to himself that he took him up and transcended. I study in the Apocrypha. I read all of that. I have read in the fullness all 3 books of Enoch. When Enoch was taken up from here, and because he was sent on assignment, he was taken up to go see all of the dimensions of different kingdoms of heaven. And he went to like 7 or 8 different kingdoms of heaven. And every time he would go to these different dimensions with the angels that was carrying him around, he always had so many questions. And I'll never forget, and one of the angels asked him, why do you ask so many questions? And he was like, well, because I need to know, why is God showing me all of this? But the whole time, God had an assignment for Enoch. When in the book of Enoch, and I don't want to recall which chapter it was in verbatim, but God was giving the angels an assignment to tell him that once he sees everything and y'all go put him back in his earthly body, he's going to have this many days to do this work, to go tell his people, to go deliver a message. Because the whole time when Enoch was dead in the physical realm, his family was around him, mourning his body. The whole time, though, he was never dead. God had just taken him up to see the things that he needed to see in this dreamlike state, so he could come back and give this word. And then Enoch's children had an assignment to go spread this word. So look, y'all ain't my kids, but I'm going to be Enoch right now. Go spread this word. Share this message. Go testify to somebody else. Let's do God's greater. Let's call the kingdom back to what the kingdom is. Because them dimensions that I saw, the reason why I traveled to such a place that was so traversed in the elements, one side of the land, I told y'all, it looked like a tourist land. It looked like tourists. It looked like people were just visiting here. We're not visitors, baby. This land is ours. We're not finna be sectioned off no more. Right now, that's what's happening. We are the higher powers. Man, come on there, Lord. Thank you. I watched that movie last night on Netflix, Leave the World Behind. And it was so subliminal, right? The whole movie was so my hand looked like some stuff coming off of it. The movie was so subliminal. And as I was watching this movie, and I'm telling my husband, it's no reason why Barack Obama and Michelle Obama would produce such a movie if they didn't know what they knew. If the people that are sitting in high places are not getting ready to try to leave us here, thinking that we're going to be left behind for destruction because the angels are coming for us. They scared right now. And for us, we unbothered. We unvexed by it. Some of us are doing life as usual. Some of us are paying attention to the miracles and the signs and the wonders, and we preparing and we getting ready for the thing because we know we're going to survive the thing, and we want to tell other people so bad, but they'll never understand the phantom idea because they so caught up in the slum. They so caught up in the lowness and I want y'all to watch that movie too. Because at the end of the movie, they were in this land that was full of greenery and it was full of life. And they stood and looked across the water, and in the city, everything was burning up. It was bombs being dropped. It was people. You can just see the destruction from afar while they were over here in safety. And the whole time in the movie, they was trying to find a highway to access back, to get back to the other side of this land. And there was no way for them to get back over there, to go do what they thought they should have been doing in the city over there. I'm telling you right now, y'all, the weapons that we warned against are not carnal. This warfare is real. The signs that we are seeing right now in this time, I know it looked like we should be doing life as usual. We should be going to work as usual. We should be paying bills as usual. Everything looked like normal because it hasn't affected us. But baby, it's working on us so subconsciously to where we're going to be so off guard because we think that it's not going to come on our territory. But the lady that gave me the oil in my dream, she gave me the readiness to be prepared. Right now, this is the oil of my mouth. The secretions, the saliva in my mouth is the oil to speak. To speak. Okay? Yes, ma'am, Miss Carol. It's time for you to speak to the people, Tiffany, is what I'm hearing. Stop keeping all this stuff bottled up and inside and in your journal. It's time for you to go forth and speak this oil, this anointing, this truth telling that I give you. Stop doubting yourself. Stop thinking that the things that I'm revealing to you in this time are not true. Stop limiting it to the 5 people that I might share my dreams with. I got to tell the world now. And I know moving forward, people finna come for my neck. And guess what? I ain't dying. I am Enoch right now. I'm not dying. You cannot kill me. You're not going to silence me. You're not going to scare me. You can't put no fear in my heart because the reverence of the Lord lives within me. And that's something you can never take. You can't take it out of me, baby. I was birthed with this. And I'm about to live in my birth right now. As filthy as I was, as full of sin as I was, as the double-mindedness, living a double life, living in the dirt. Baby, I got all my truth to tell. I got all my truth to tell, and can't nobody stop me. Because God said I can go forth now. I can speak it. Boldly, humbly, with full of humility. But I own all of it because it means I was assigned for a time like now. It was assigned for a time like now. Somebody with a radical faith. Just do things very unorthodox. It's so God, we can't never make sense of God's hand. I be doing stuff that I just be like, God, why? It ain't supposed to make sense to you right now, daughter. Just do it anyway. They not gonna like you. They gonna hate you. They gonna despise you. Some of them gonna wanna, they gonna love you so much they hate you. And what their version of love looks like. For whatever their version of love looks like, they gonna call you out. They gonna talk about you bad. They gonna make you they gonna bring remembrance. They gonna keep score. That ain't love. But they gonna keep score of everything you've done to make you feel bad, because I'm an empath. I feed off of other people's emotions easily. And I would easily let that stuff trick in my mind. Well, you was that bad, Tiffany. You did do all that. And it would make me crawl back into this little shell. In that tunnel that I was crawling through in a dream. It would make me crawl back into this shell to hide myself, to stay shrunken down, to stay little. Because I'm like, you all really filthy, girl. You ain't got no business. And God just said, in the filth, I'm going to anoint your head and clean you up to where you're going to turn into gold. You're going to be radiant. You're going to have a weapon, that fork, to go do what Miss Carol said, to feed these people, to do my works and run for your life while doing so, because that's what's at stake if they get too close to you. So in the full agreement for whoever heard this message now, whoever hear this message later, I want to come into agreement with you by the spirit that God has given to me, by the power of truth that he's given to me, that right now you are doing your great work. Your life means something. You are destined for greatness. Everything that you saw in the spiritual realm is real. For God said in his own way, in the way we were told to pray, that there is heaven here on earth. Y'all know the prayer that I'm talking about, that Jesus said, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. These supernatural dreams, it will be done on earth. And this was my daily bread. God just gave me the manna to feed myself, to go forth boldly, to ensure that in his kingdom, in the kingdom work he has assigned to me, I am doing it in this earthly vessel. And I'm just going to do that. So I hope that y'all receive this. I hope that if you listen to it later, if it's somebody that's in a later that watches this video, that if this resonates to you, you don't just skip over it, that you don't just let it be like a passing. I hope you take it into your heart. And I know that it wasn't the best storytelling time, because I'm really excited, and maybe later God will give me the fullness to kind of slow down on how I give the word without feeling like I'm rushing it to get it all out of excitement and out of the willingness to share. But as of right now, I feel free. I feel free. Thank you, Miss Carol, Prophetess Carol. Thank you so much for sharing this word. And I'm going to challenge everybody else that sees this video to share this word with 1 or 2 people that you know might be going through the same thing, that might be feeling the same thing. Somebody who shared their dreams with you and you wasn't able to interpret it, but you know it meant something. You know, share this word with somebody, because it wasn't just for me. It wasn't just for you. This is a word that's supposed to surface to many nations. It's supposed to go forth in boldness. Keep your heads covered. Keep yourself anointed. Know that God has equipped you with all the power, and that your younger self, your younger life is your feeding tube. Everything you experienced in your sin, in your nastiness, in your filthiness, is made you ready for a time like today. Use it all. For Romans 8:28 is real. Romans 8:28 is real. I love y'all.